What's up? It's LactateLactate, and today I'm bringing you a gameplay I got on Ground War Domination on Terminal, which is an awesome combination with the RPD. Yeah, pretty damn good gameplay as well, I think, in my opinion. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about the gameplay today. If you want to see a gameplay commentary, you should check out my last video. Good video on Afghan. And again, talking about my channel, if you notice on my channel, generally all the videos, some text, can't really complain. But if you notice, on my channel, a lot of the videos is either high rise, terminal, skid row, Afghan, Favea, which basically are the best maps in the game, in my opinion. But why is that? What makes a good map on Call of Duty, on Modern Warfare 2? But talking about more generally Call of Duty, what makes a good map? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video. In my opinion, the first thing that I want to address, and the first thing that I think is important, is balance. You want whatever side of the map you're on, whatever combination of flags you have, you want it to be a sort of a viable option to do well. That's one thing about Terminal, is that you can have B and C, you can have A and B, and you can have C and A even, and you can really do well. It doesn't matter what side of the map you're on. You've got a good strategy. You can do well from that point. You can spawn trap nicely from that point. Same goes for, say, Skid Row. You can have A and B or B and C, and even A and C sometimes nicely if you can control that sort of long tunnel way where B is. If you can control that, you're going to do well. Same with high rise. Although I guess high rise B is a bit of an essential thing to have. It's very hard to hold both points, but that's the point. And having balance, in my opinion, in my experience, generally it creates a game where the better team will win. It creates a situation where if the map's balanced, then if a team is better and has better players and is playing better, is more organised, then they're going to win the match because of the evenness of the map. And it's not just a case of a bad team can hold a really good area and win. Because there are no good areas. So everywhere's a good area. Which sort of links on to my second point. Flow is a very important thing. Map needs to have good flow. If you don't know what I mean by that, I mean you need to know where the other enemy are all the time and where they're going, and they know where you're going, and it just leads to a really nice sort of action-filled sort of fun-paced gameplay. Where, because you always know where they are and where they're going, and vice versa, you're always going to find each other, and you're never going to be in that situation where you're sort of wandering about, just like trying to find each other, and you're like, oh, this is really weird dynamic. Terminal, you never have a weird dynamic. You know exactly what's going on in Terminal. You know that if you've got the top of the escalators, they're going to be flooding out from A, they're going to be coming round from the security area where I am now, and if they've got B, they're going to be coming up the escalators. You know where they're going to be coming, and they know where you are. So that leads to really sort of good, fun gameplay. And on Team Deathmatch, say on Afghan, it has that very sort of clockwise, anti-clockwise sort of pace about it, where you're going around the map together. You're sort of circling the map, and it leads to fun gameplay. From my experience, which sort of that flow and sort of pace of gameplay again leads me on to my third point, which is size. I think a map has to be sort of medium to large. Small maps can be fun and really hectic and all that, but generally it's very easy to get overrun, and bad players will beat you. If you've already had to take out 3 or 4 guys in quick succession and need to reload or whatever, bad players are going to win. And that's, at the end of the day, all I want from any COD game. Is I want, if I'm better than a player, to beat him, and if the player outplays me, then he beats me. That's all I really want. Deaths that aren't your fault is the worst thing about Call of Duty, I swear. And yeah, so having a good map design allows that, and I think size makes the map a bit more tactical. It means that you have to think on a higher level. And again, thinking on a higher level will allow the better players to prosper, and as I said, a larger map allows for that. So again, all the maps I discussed, Skid Row, Terminal, Afghan, Favea, I'll probably stick Wasteland in that combination. Although Wasteland can get annoying sometimes, but they've all fairly medium to large maps. Or you can put them all in that sort of category, and it's not a coincidence that they're the best maps. Again, it leads to a really nice pace where it never gets too hectic, you never feel overrun, and as I said, with good flow in there as well, you always find traffic, and which again it leads to good gameplay, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's another point I want to make. Lack of sort of buildings, I find, makes for a good map. In terms of what I prefer, instead of having lots of buildings, so I'm having to constantly run through doorways where campers can just sit in the in the corner or whatever, and it really sort of you can't really have a go at a camper on a building, on a map, sorry, that has a lot of buildings, because it's the most effective style. It's the most effective way of playing. Why would you run around all the time when it's just going to get you shot? If you're constantly running through doorways and stuff, you're just going to get shot. It's much more beneficial to be in the building than be running around from room to room. So just take them out. What I prefer, and what I think brings out the best players again, is having large open areas with cover spread around, which is again what you have in Terminal. You even have it in Wasteland. There's a lot of open areas, but you do have those tanks and things that you can always take cover behind if you're smart. Same with Afghan and Skid Row. Although Skid Row is a bit more building orientated. But I suppose that's it still comes down to map navigation, because it is so building orientated. It's quite hard to camp in Skid Row unless you're in the A building, and God, people take advantage of that, don't they? And speaking of the A building, that's another thing. Verticality, I find, allows for camping a lot more as well. If a map has a lot of high areas, 2 or 3 story buildings where people can just look out of windows, again, it makes sense if you think about it. You trash on for camping, this camping cunt or whatever, but it makes sense to be in the building looking out than be one of the guys running around below. So just take it out. I think the best maps, again, on Terminal, for example, I keep bringing back to Terminal because that's the map I'm playing on right now. There's no real area where you can sit and just pick people off, and not really be at a threat to yourself. Maybe at the front of the plane, but again, the front of the plane, if I know there's someone in the front of the plane, I just move to the area that's just on my right there by the buggy, and take them out, as I think I'm about to do now, or at least attempt to do. And therefore, that worked out nicely. And therefore, it sort of eliminates that camp spot. So that's another thing I say. And all I'm talking about is things I want to see in Modern Warfare 3, because essentially that's what that's going to be the next Call of Duty game, and I'm sure the maps have been pretty much designed already. But this is what I want to see. And I'll pose the question to anyone watching this video: what do you want to see from the maps in Modern Warfare 3? What do you want to see? Do you agree with what I'm saying? Do you think I'm talking complete bullshit? Do you think, yeah, put in map, put in buildings, have no cover, have the maps really small? Just let me know if you think. If you disagree, let me know. But yeah, so I think taking away like a lot of high buildings and stuff eliminates camping and sort of is more conducive to a more aggressive play style, and that's what you want. You want to be just running around with your gun, getting into gun and gunfights, darting in and out of cover and stuff like that, and that makes it a lot more fun. So what else? I like maps that have pretty much no roofs, of quite open maps, because when I get air support, I don't want the entire team hiding in buildings. I want to be able to shoot them. At the end of the day, if you're on a team and you don't bring out your sting or whatever, then more fool you, because I'm gonna ruin you with my air support. And if I'm on a team and the air support's out, the air support's meant to do work. You're not meant to just be stuck in the building while the air support's going on. Obviously, any sensible person would hide, but speaking of someone that when it's my air support, I want open areas I can just fire into and rack up the kills. So that's another thing I say. Right, as the video's winding down, I just want to point out one final thing that I like about maps. I want them to look good. I want them to look nice in terms of the colour scheme. I don't want them to be sort of dreary and miserable. I want them to be bright and nice, because at the end of the day, think about how much time you spend Call of Duty. You want it to be a nice place to be. You want to be enjoying being in that map. And then, yeah, double kill with a G18, leveling up, But I want it to be a nice map. I want it to be a nice place to be. So, that's one of the reasons I say Purveyor, a beautiful map to look at. Is you're in Purveyor and you're just loving it, because it's nice. And I like to think, on some level, it makes you play a little better. I don't know, maybe it's all sort of, the placebo effect, whatever. But anyway, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found what I was talking about. I hope you agreed with it. Let me know. And yeah, that's what I find makes a good map. See you later.